have StillFresh. But before we invite our guests, let's take a look at this video presentation. Okay, we are welcoming the VP of Marketing Sales, Jayne Tinhay, CEO Joseph Doroja, and Jomar Montemayor, VP of Research and Development. Let's welcome our guests from StillFresh. Hello, welcome, Jayne.
Hi,
Joseph, nice to meet you. Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us here on Daily Insight. So we are talking about StillFresh. So what is StillFresh?
So StillFresh, it's the first spoilage monitoring strip in the Philippines. It's a strip that allows you to monitor if your food is spoiled or not. So it changes color from purple to yellow. So it works on different types of food, poultry, meat, fishes. So it really helps you determine if your food is spoiled or not.
Okay, so where did this idea come from? Why did you want to create this business?
It actually started from a very consumer point of view. So around us, we've been experiencing a lot of food poisoning or like an aching stomach because of what they ate. And then most of us don't really know how to tell spoilage.
Yes.
So it's usually just look at the food or smell it or
Yes.
taste it.
And that's not always the best.
Yeah, exactly. Like even after doing that, you're still not sure. So we thought of creating a device
Yes.
or StillFresh, which can help you really more accurately tell spoilage. So aside from food poisoning, then it can help lessen the cases of food wastage also.
Yes,
And improve food storage. So that's where the whole idea focuses on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now for Jomar, how do you guys have a background in business in these types of things? What's your background for the three of you?
Actually, all of us in StillFresh, we came from a background of both management and chemistry. So our course actually in Ateneo was management of applied chemistry, which is a strange mix of both.
Yes.
Both worlds.
I didn't even know that they offered that course.
It's really pretty new, so it allows us to have a grasp of the basic concepts of applied chemistry, which allows us to formulate the product. And then we also have a background on business and management, which allows us to do marketing for it and take care of the business aspect.
So when you came up with this idea, you guys were still in school? Wow.
Yeah,
Yes.
so it really started as a college thesis. But then, of course, in that aspect, it's still focused on the more consumer aspect.
Yes.
Then after graduating, we really thought about it, like, does this bring any benefit to people, or if not people, to businesses? And we found that there are actually a lot of businesses who need this because
Yes.
they have a huge amount of inventory of food as raw materials.
Wow. So inspiring that you came up with it while you're still in college. When I was in college, I definitely was not thinking about what this is. So when you came up with the idea, it was in as part of your thesis, and now all three of you have graduated?
Yes.
Yes, and now you've continued on with the businesses. So how has that been, knowing that you are recent college graduates and dealing with big time companies, especially with restaurant owners and things like that? How has that been interacting with them?
It's been an exciting adventure. So every time we would meet a new personality, a new person, and it's really this always sense of looking ahead, what's next. So we really don't know. So always we have these plans. We have plans for the next month, the following months. But really it's always been changing because really in the startup world you have to be flexible. You really have to know your stuff and really be flexible in dealing with people as well.
Yes, okay. So on the next part, we're going to discuss more about the device that you're using. What is that called? The purple that turns to another color.
So it's a StillFresh strip. It's powered by the spoil alarm technology.
Spoil alarm technology. Okay, so we'll learn more about that on Daily Insight. Welcome back to Daily Insight. We have the owners of StillFresh, Jayne, Joseph, and Jomar. So we're discussing before, we saw from the video that you guys use this kind of square strip that you're talking about. What's it called again?
StillFresh.
The spoil alarm
technology.
technology. So how does that work, Jomar?
So the spoil alarm technology, it works by detection of the gases inside of the food container. So how it happens is it starts out as purple, but when the gas that is released by the spoiling food gets accumulated inside the container,
Yes.
the spoil alarm technology is able to detect that gas accumulation, which allows it to change color. So when there's enough gas accumulated to be considered that it's spoiled, it changes from purple to yellow, which indicates that the food is already spoiled.
Okay. So does that work for depending on the type of food that you put in the Tupperware?
So it works on a variety of foods, from
Okay.
poultry, meat, fish, even vegetables. So it works in all ways. So what we really detect are the gases emitted by the bacteria, because over time, in whatever type of food, bacteria grows on the food,
Yes.
and they release gases, and this is what we detect, and this is among the first signs of spoilage.
Okay. How did you come up with that? How to make this device? I know your background is business management with science in it. So did you guys yourselves create this technology?
Well, of course, like behind it, there's been a lot of research,
Yes.
rigorous experimentation. We've experienced a lot of pivots, like just looking for the right dye or the
Yes.
right base, the right components that can really react with those gases. So there's a huge research behind it,
Yes.
both online and offline. So
Okay.
well, in any entrepreneur track,
Yeah.
like in any startup, that's already a given.
Yes. Okay. Now the food that you put in the Tupperware, does the food need to be fresh in the beginning before putting it in the Tupperware? What if I start off by putting rice that's already spoiled? Is it not gonna work?
So actually, the usage of the strip is meant to be for storage. So for
Yes.
example, if you have leftover food, you put it inside before you store it inside the refrigerator, because the strip inside needs to have time to interact with the gas inside of the container. So it's not gonna work when, for example, it's spoiled. I want to check it instantly, so it doesn't work at an instant. It needs
okay.
time to interact with the environment inside with the spoiled food.
Okay.
The rationale behind it is that, of course, we don't know at what point our food spoils.
Yes.
So what we really recommend is that at the start of the preparation, you really put the strip so that we know, because we can't keep on guessing which time to put the
Yeah.
strip. So we have to put it all throughout so that we're sure at any point, at any time, it's still
Yes.
fresh.
I don't want to keep like.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
that so
exactly.
good? I don't know. Is this really the flavor of the rice, or did they do something new?
Yeah.
Okay, so what are other businesses? What is their traditional way that they monitor whether or not their food is still fresh?
We've had some consultations with various industry experts, particularly in the fish and meat manufacturing sector, and they always tell us that it's really crude. They just smell the fish, they
Yes.
just do it by touching or by having visual inspections. So it's really
Okay.
inefficient, and
Yeah.
if the one inspecting has their senses very used to the smell or to the taste or whatsoever, they try to replace them in a rotating way. So it's really inefficient. It's really unscientific as well.
Yes.
So what we're really trying to do here is really try to make it methodic in a way,
Yes.
so that people will know and the businesses will know at what point is their food spoiled already.
Yes, and so you've mentioned now that businesses are using it as well, not just what we saw with personal,
Yes.
Bawo and things like that. What other types of businesses have you been partnering with that has now using this technology?
Well, StillFresh is really meant to go across the distribution chain. So right now we're working with restaurants and commissaries, like as our pilot. But then it really extends more beyond that.
Yes.
So it encompasses like manufacturers, suppliers, even supermarkets, like really any business that sells food to their
Yes.
consumers that wants to be sure that the food they sell is safe
Oh,
and
okay.
is still fresh.
Yeah.
And they're all our market.
Yeah. So you have the personal consumer,
Yes.
you
Yes.
have food manufacturing distributors, maybe even supermarkets.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the
Okay.
distribution.
Yeah, the entire chain. So we're gonna talk more about how they're doing their sales and marketing and how they are really promoting StillFresh. So stay tuned to Daily Insight. Welcome back to Daily Insight. We have StillFresh, Jayne, Joseph, and Jomar. We're talking about their company with the spoilage, that strip, magnetic strip. Yes. Yes. So now it's a very original idea here, especially in the Philippines. So I know sometimes that you really gotta push for that marketing and for those sales. So from the time that you came up with it while you're in school and now that you've graduated, what was the next step? What did you do to really have the exposure of StillFresh?
What's really important, especially for a new idea, for a new business, is to really have this visibility all throughout. So that's why we keep on joining competitions, conventions, and more. Our first competition was actually the original pitch competition.
Okay.
So we were chosen among the top 15 nationwide, top 15 startups. And there were startups who are much older than us. They're much more successful.
Yes.
But we really tried our best to prepare for it, to really make sure that, hey, we have this prototype, hey, we have this working. And that's when we really delivered our best so that we can impress the judges. So through that original pitch competition, that was our first seed funding for our business.
Okay.
Yes, and it took off from there. So we had a lot of events afterwards, from one food convention to the other. So such as the Manila Food Convention, many more. And actually, quite recently, we joined this Massachusetts Institute of Technology.
Okay, MIT, yes.
Yeah.
So it's this international competition wherein there are around 900 ideas around the world into really how to solve problems in today's world. So, and we were luckily we're chosen among the top 17 around the world, yes, to become part of the solvers community. And we're really
Yes.
happy to be part of this ever-growing community of really bringing not just a better business, but really a better impact to society as well.
Okay. So has that been your guys' main marketing, is joining these types of events and competitions?
Yeah, so apart from what Chris said on visibility, it also isn't all that extravagant thing all the time.
Yes.
So what you realize when you go out of school and you start meeting people much older than you or your
Yeah.
clients is that it's really more of establishing relationships.
Ah,
So,
okay.
for example, in terms of our clients, we really make it a point to really go to them, talk to them about the product, have them try it, and see if it works for them, if it matches their behavior.
Yes.
So it's really more of having an interaction with also people, that you're not just going there as an institution, as a company,
Yeah.
and talking to another company. It's more about really showing that you have a solution for the problem that they've had so much frustrations on.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so that's also part of our marketing strategy, that it's not just an aspect of looking grand, looking like we're visible in a sense that we're doing a lot of things,
Yes.
but in really connecting with our clients, connecting with the ecosystem, the startup ecosystem, and the people in it.
Yes. So because that's what I've noticed when I saw your pictures about your past events. Your marketing strategy is different as opposed to others who have like a product that they are selling to the everyday person.
Yes.
For yours, it's more further reaching. You are reaching out to industries.
Yes.
You're joining competitions who have a problem, who are looking for a solution.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really is helping for your specific company with this idea, is to reach out and gain that exposure to the leaders in the business. So that way you can build greater partnerships and have more exposure for your product. So what are your guys' future plans for marketing and also for your product?
One of the helpful advices we've received is really to do a sandwich method. So we always try to make sure that we're visible at the top,
Okay.
the decision makers, because at the end of it all, we're targeting business owners because we're interacting with businesses. So
Yes.
that's our primary market. So we're visible at the top, but at the same time, we're also visible at the grassroots level, talking to people, making sure that where people are aware of us. At the end of it all, people being known to the idea that, hey, StillFresh exists in the Philippines.
Yes.
So it's really that top and bottom method, that sandwich method, that's really driving our marketing strategy. So it's always a mixed bag. So
Yes.
so it's not always product, it's not always competitions. We have to be agile. We have to be very flexible in how we deal with the market as well, because hey, we're dealing with the end-to-end industry from
Yes.
manufacturers all the way down to consumers.
Yes.
So we really have to be diverse in how we reach our market as well.
Yes. So a lot of our viewers, they are aspiring entrepreneurs, and a lot of them have original ideas, just like with you guys. What's some advice that we can give to them to give them the encouragement that they need to pursue their ideas? So Jayne, what's some advice you can give them?
Okay, I have quite a lot.
Oh, okay. Let's limit it to just a
Well-
few.
Well, from our experience, I saw how the vision of the company really impacts you a lot. Like, when you're trying to create a product or making a business or trying to bring a solution out there, it's really more about if people really experience it and if you believe that it's a solution to a perennial problem.
Yes.
And there are a lot of times, especially if it's a new product or an innovative product, when people will be skeptical about it,
Yeah.
and that's natural. Like, for example, for us, we've had a lot of comments also, like, why don't I just smell it?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Why don't I just
But then-
taste it?
Exactly.
Well, then you're gonna get
But
sick.
then, what's really going to keep you going is the vision, if you really believe in the product. And of course, it's not all about vision, like, it's not all about the rainbows.
Yeah.
It's also about grit. Like, there will really be times when you'll be thinking, like, what am I doing?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
why don't I just get a job? But like, it's those two, the vision and the grit, that really holds you to the company. And if you're working for it because there's a problem that you want to solve.
Yes. Okay. Very good advice. How about you, Joseph? What's some advice? You gave some earlier, but just a little bit more.
I guess one thing I really realized throughout the past months of operating the business is really hardship may break people, but it can also help you break records.
Ayun.
Yeah.
Let's quote that. Again, ano yun?
Yes, because to be honest, it's not really, of course, we have a lot of victories and successes along the way, but throughout most of it, 80% most of it is really the silent work, the silent struggle of really making sure the business is working, making sure that everything's working, that we're always learning. Actually, as of today, we're always learning about R&D and more. So really that hardship, it will either break you or you just have to try harder in order to break records instead. And I guess one key to make that happen is really to surround yourself with mentors, with advisors, because one is too small to make a difference. So we really need to be in touch with other people because, hey, business, it's not just about the numbers.
Yes.
At the end of it all, it's about the people. It's about really interacting with people and making sure that, hey, you have a relationship with them. Not purely financial or transactional relationships, but really that bond in order for you to grow even further in your journey.
Yes. Very good words of advice. How about you, Jomar? What's your words of advice that you can share to our viewers?
So if you have a business idea that you have in your mind, just push through with it. There might be doubts, there might be things that you think might not work out, but go push through with it. Find the right people, find the right team who could help you develop that idea, pitch it to the right people. The people you pitch to might not always like your idea, but there are people that who are gonna like your idea and who are gonna be willing to help you make a marketing strategy, help you make your product better. There are a lot of people who are willing to help, so long as they see how determined you are, they see your grit and your passion in driving the business and developing the product.
Good. Very good, important words of advice. So if people want to know more about StillFresh, how can they find out?
So if you're a food business, we actually have a program that will launch soon. So we'll be featuring restaurants and food businesses in order. So that's because part of our initiative is really not just to help them improve their inventory, but to help the businesses grow as a whole, and we really want to grow with them. So if you want to connect with us, you can check us out on Facebook. That's facebook.com/stillfreshph. You can send us an email at info@stillfreshsolutions.com, and you can also check our website at www.stillfreshsolutions.com.
Okay, good. Thank you guys so much for joining us and sharing us with your insight. We all hope that you enjoyed this episode. Oh, also thank you to our sponsor, to the Arena Weekend Market. Come to the Philippine Arena every Saturday and Sunday for jogging and for fitness. So we hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for watching us. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank